Shalom. All praises to Yahweh by Shema Mashiach Yahweh Shah. This is Teller Nicholas with the Noble House of St. Nicholas, Vincent Saints of Israel, and House of Jacob. Today, I'm getting into the Hebrew Israelite Richardson family. All the Negroes with the surname Richardson in the Americas, Caribbean islands, and Europe, and all those scattered abroad with the surname Richardson. All right. Before you guys were slaves here in the Americas and the Caribbean islands, you guys was royalty in Europe. You guys was royalty in England, Ireland, and Scotland, which was considered the three kingdoms which our our last Negro king, King Charles ruled. All right. Before, and you got to remember, before we was in slavery, we ruled the Dark Ages from 500 AD to 1500 AD, which was prophecy fulfilled in Revelations 20 and 6. And then we went into captivity from 1500 AD to the late 1600s, all right? But before I get into any more, I want to go to 2nd Esdras 9 and 20 to 22, all right? And it reads, "So I considered the world, and behold, there was peril because of the devices that were come into it. And I saw and spared it greatly, and I have kept me a grape of the cluster and the plant of a great people. Let the multitude perish then, which was born in vain, and let my grapes be kept and my plant, for with great labor have I made it perfect." All right? So this history is our history. The Most High created this history. This is not the history of the Caucasian man, the wild man Edomite. Is emphatically incorrect, because in the Dark Ages, the Caucasians that wear the surname Richardson was in the outskirts of Europe as wild men and wild women. And you could Google that information up by going to Wild Men and Moors, and it'll briefly touch up on that. So now I'm going to go into the Richardson family history before y'all was slaves in the Americas and Caribbean islands. You guys was royalty in England, Ireland, and Scotland. And I'm going to get into it, all right? And it reads, "The name Richardson was brought to England in the great wave of migration following the Norman conquest of 1066. Because during the Norman conquest of 1066, a lot of our people was pagan here in Europe. So our families, our relatives from, from other parts of Europe that knew about Christianity and Christ and knew about their heritage came into England in 1066 to, show the people the way, all right? And it comes from an old German name, Richard, meaning powerful and brave, all right? So Richardson means powerful and brave, and it comes from an old German name, all right? And we're the first Germans. You could go to Germany right now. We still have our statues on their buildings right now to this day, all right? Early origins of the Richardson family. The surname Richardson was first found in Cheshire in 1064, where they were descent from Hugh de Avranches, Earl Lupus of Chester. His descendants, William Bellwood, Lord of Maples and Chester, had two sons, David and Richard. Richard's grandson, John, was the first to bear the name Richardson. So you guys would want to look up these people, all right? Years later, the Yorkshire poll tax records revealed William Richardson in 1381, and further north in Scotland. Thomi Filius Richardy held a charter of the barony of Simmerstone and Lanark in circa 1315 and to 1321. Slovakia. A few years later, Lawrence Filius Richardy was a tenant of the Earl of Douglas and Lushardy in 1376. Murdoch Richardson, a Scottish merchant, complained the English had sunk his vessel during a truce in 1359. And in 1359, all these dates predates the time that the Caucasians was wearing our surnames. All right. They was in the outskirts of Europe as our servants and as wild men. All right. Richardson is essentially a north of England name, extending across the border into Dumfriesshire, and also, but to a less extent, characteristics of most of the East Coast counties as far south as Kent and Sussex. The county of Cumberland Westmoreland, Durham, Northumberland, and Northeast Ridings of Yorkshire contain the greatest number of the name. All right. So you guys, instead of going to Cancun, instead of going to Mexico, go to these places where your surname is found. And if all the Richardson family dig into y'all history, go into y'all coat of arm history, y'all will all tie up to these people, which will all link y'all up. If the robbers, y'all are over 100,000 strong in the Americas alone. It's about time that y'all gather yourselves together and then gather yourselves together back up to the unto the Amashiach, our Christ, Yahweh Shah, who the world's ignorantly calls Jesus, and get your blessing, because we living in the last days. All right, Richardson family, come together. Y'all one family. Y'all are not strangers. All right. Y'all families is families in the Americas, Caribbean islands, and Europe, and scattered all throughout the world with the surname Richardson. Gather yourselves back together and remember who y'all are, because y'all royalty, all right? This is Teller Nicholas from the Noble House of St. Nicholas, Vincent Saints of Israel, and House of Jacob. I'm signing off. Shalom.